Rich. Those two guys are doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'll definitely pass that along. So, good afternoon. Welcome to this edition of Coffee with Tyler. We'll take a little bit different spin on the Coffee with Tyler today for those of you that are tuning in and also here. But Ms. Tarantino was just saying that she really appreciated the landscaping, that Jesus and Dustin are our two landscaping guys, and then Jesus was actually brought on full-time as a maintenance individual, and so I'm sure you've probably seen him stopping around. He's very, very good, and we're very excited. Now Dustin, they're still working on some fall cleanup out there, you know, now as the leaves continue to fall, but yeah, Dustin will be brought more in-house to paint and do those things, but yeah, we're very, very fortunate to have Jesus and Dustin doing landscaping. And again, that was all brought on by Eric, of course, as you know, there was a skill set there that we had in Dustin, and credit to him and Eric for what they're able to do. Leads me very well into our resident satisfaction survey results.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna pick on that one, not pick on it, but take that one to start, and first I have to find it. But the upkeep of outside grounds and landscaping is performed to my satisfaction. Scored an 89, and comparatively to the last year, is actually up 3%. So again, that's a good thing. And so again, that's really what we wanted to see. And so again, that's just some of the satisfaction scores. So did anyone have a chance to take a look at the survey? So it's posted in the library.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and so it's this thick. It's about a 50-page document,
Okay.
42 to be exact, of which 20 pages are comments, both positive and improvement. But really the first page that you'll see is kind of a summary page. And this is kind of what we look at as an overall. So you answered questions, usually 3 or 4 questions in each of these categories, and they added up to a score. And so overall, our community, you as residents, said overall satisfaction was an 88%. That is the exact same score that we received in 2019. However, it was interesting to see where those kind of dynamics shifted. And really the top 3 areas that kind of everything rolls up into is 3 questions. Very satisfied with East Castle Place as a place to live. Would recommend East Castle Place to the friends and family. And I feel at home at East Castle Place. Very satisfied with East Castle Place as a place to live scored a 93. That is a 5% increase over 2019.
Good.
Also, I should have mentioned that we compared not only to ourselves from 2019, but we also compared to other LCS communities. And then we also compared to what they call industry, so senior living. And so Sensite is the producer of these surveys. They're a third party. We pay them for their service. That's how it becomes, you know, the anonymous information that provide to us, and they gather all this. So they do this across the nation, and that's how we get the industry percentage. And so comparatively to other LCS communities, we were actually 3% better than the average. So the average LCS community said they were 90% satisfied. Compared to industry, we were 7 points higher. So again, the average there would be about an 86. So again, something that I feel really good about. You know, I think, again, that's what we strive for. That's why we have staff and, you know, to come in, and that's why residents ultimately live here. Then we look at the recommendation for East Castle Place to friends and family. And this is a metric that we feel is always very important because you are our best marketers. That's why we have our Friends for a Neighbor program. That's why we have, again, that's why we focus on that, because if you enjoy living here, hopefully you'd be comfortable enough to say, you know what, neighbor, you should come live at East Castle. That's a stronger tie than anything I can do, anything Anna or Heidi can do. And that's why we always ask that question.
I hope we gave you a good rating.
We'll get there. And so that was up 1%. And then I feel at home at East Castle Place was 83%. And that actually dropped by 6 points. And I look at it two ways, right? So we had a total of a 91% response rate, 84 surveys were returned, right? When we did this in 2019, we had over 114 surveys returned. Because we had independent living rental residents also contributing. Obviously, we don't have that population anymore. And that was also a population that was here for a long time. And so again, I look at the 84 respondents and think, you know, at least probably close to 15, maybe 20, probably lived here, moved in during COVID, lived here or moved in the last 6 months. And so again, they're getting the feel for their home, right?
I don't think it's fair to use that as a measure of how you do it.
Yeah, you know, and it's always interesting because you do set it at a date and time, and so again, I think that score would say that, you know, I don't think, again, the overall satisfaction is there for 93, but that metric, again, because we want you to feel at home, but, you know, that's kind of where I pointed to. Again, I think we have work to do to make sure you're always feeling at home. I think you as residents do an incredible job of welcoming each other. But then I think back to COVID times where we had to stop that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that warm welcome, that home-like feel, maybe it wasn't there. And so again,
It probably wasn't because we were not supposed to be doing too much.
exactly. And so that's kind of also the lens we put this through is this is the first time we've done a survey when we came out of a pandemic, you know, fortunately, hopefully the last one too, at least in my time.
I hope so.
You know, but yeah, so then we started kind of going down, then reception. So the areas that we looked at were reception received a 98. Again, I think a very strong score. Marketing and sales received a 94. Accounting received a 94. Resident health services, so that'd be like Teresa, received a 93. Transportation received a 92. Community life, Laura's area, got rated a 91. Environmental services was a 91. The executive director was an 89. Overall, we had an 88. Communications was an 86. That one I want to talk a little bit about with you for, because that was actually a 7-point drop from last time.
Which one is that again?
Communications. So, want to dig into that one a little bit. Extraordinary impressions was down 3%. And so again, I think
What was that?
extraordinary impressions.
Oh.
So that's the culture. That's how we provide the service. And then Plan Ops was down. Our food and beverage was 82. Plan Ops was 81. Security was 80. Health Center was 75. Engagement was 73. Board of Directors was 70. And Assisted Living was 70. Put all those scores together, you know, and that's how we come up with that overall kind of satisfaction. So, again, the interesting part about assisted living and even the health center, only 4 people responded, you know, about that area. And so again, on average, that would be, you know, a 7 out of 10. You know, 5 people responded for assisted living, a 7 out of 10. And so again, you can look at that a number of different ways, but that's a pretty small sample set. So that's where it's, you know, interesting. The one piece of supportive services where we scored an average of 85. So technology, we scored a 91. Fitness and aquatics an 89. The lift program an 85. Beauty and barber a 62.
But they don't go up.
So last year, or the last time we did this, we had brought in a brand new salon, right? PS Salon. Kind of an uphill battle after a provider had been here for how many years, and the hairdressers, you know, had to leave. And so I gave them the opportunity. I think you all were very, very patient. I'm not gonna lie, I anticipated this score to be low. That is why, again, we made the change this week. They started from PS Salon to Mirror Salon. And so again, that is the type of impact that these types of results can have. And again, it's not that you know, if a director were to get a 62, they're fired. You know, that's not at all what this impact is. But what I'm saying is, we take your feedback and we put things into action. And although it's maybe not immediate and maybe not, you know, in the time frame you would expect, things take time. This transition has been in place for over 6 months when I started the conversations. There's a lot of behind the scenes that really led to this week. And so again, we're excited for Mirror Salon to be here. I'm hoping that score goes up. I'm hoping that you as residents start utilizing the salon
I
services
was up there
more
this
and more.
week and very, very nice people.
Good. I mean, that's first impression. I think,
Very.
again, the product is the other piece, right? It's the
I
cutting
saw,
of
I
it.
saw 2 hairdos that were really nice.
Yeah, me too.
Good. Izzy's been doing it for over 25 years. She's our main beautician that will be in. And then Chris Richter, and I actually worked with Chris up at Newcastle Place. That's how I know them. Thanks, Scrum. And so I actually worked with John, who's the owner of Mirror Salon, down at Sagewood when I started 10 years ago. So again, they've been in the business for some time. They have salon, you know, but they're not. PS Salon is a national provider. That is not what Mirror Salon is. They're very much focused more on the local and not growing to grow, but rather growing smartly. You know, that was the other piece of why we had to engage Mirror Salon so early, and why we had the discussions, why it took time, is they had to hire some beauticians. They didn't have beauticians, and so they had to find the right one. And the market, just like the market currently is, it's tough. And so again, we're excited to see how this relationship goes. I know that there will always be room for improvement, but again, that feedback is what I need. Just a little bit more. I mean, again, the reception team. Overall, I'm satisfied with the resident services. 81 residents responded to that question. The average score was a 99. That means that generally, large in part, majorities put a 10 down, and there was a few that put a 9. So very, very good. Maureen got a 97. Very, very strong there. Let's see, what are a few areas that I want to focus on? So activities are scheduled at times that work for me, in 81. This is something that we worked at throughout the course of last year, the last 2 years. And it's very specific, because we can set things up and, you know, but then doctor's appointments and other things come up. And so that's really where we focus and work with the Community Lifestyles Committee, the resident committee, to help us understand what times really work for you. And something that we started doing really in the last 3 to 6 months is really started trying to schedule things, like State of the Castle. And again, usually that's the 4th Thursday of each month at 1 o'clock, so that kind of becomes a habit, and so that if that's important to you, you can kind of schedule around that. At the same time, I think another piece that Laura and I spoke about that we can improve upon in the next year, starting right now, is how the calendars match up, right? And how we're communicating that, because we've had struggles with making sure the monthly matches the weekly, matches what's on Touchdown. And that's where, communication, I think, is another piece that I think may have suffered a little bit, because we're trying to communicate all this information, make sure you have a number of different vessels in order to get the information. But when it doesn't match up, it might as well be worthless, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where, Laura and I, from an audit standpoint, really took some time and energy and focus to make it part of the routine that we are checking the calendars to make sure the monthlies are adding up to the weeklies that are adding up to what we're displaying daily. You'd think it'd be pretty simple, but it's not. Because again, you as residents and we as East Castle Place sometimes do have those last minute changes and last minute ads and things of that nature. So again, I'd welcome any feedback to how you think we can improve on making sure that, when we're having activities, when we have different things going on, that you're able to do those things. Any thoughts?
I would say maybe a little more notice
Okay.
than to just put it up the day of the event.
Notice.
I think if people knew a couple days ahead, or even longer, depends on what it is, I guess, but.
Mhm.
I agree, Dr. Lang's coming today,
2 o'clock.
prepared with a video, and nothing was up until I went into Laura on Tuesday, and then she put it up right away.
Yeah. Advance notice. So yes.
He's coming prepared, and
Yeah, he's coming at 2 o'clock.
I'm gonna feel bad if people weren't aware.
Yeah.
Well, another thing that wasn't clear to me, they had something that was posted as a new resident get-together this week. I thought it was for us to get to know the new residents. It wasn't.
So that's something else that I noticed.
Yeah.
And we did
Yeah.
have some residents stop in, which was fine, but that was really an orientation
Sure.
for new
But-
residents to
But
get
that
to
was
know.
not clear.
Yep. No, exactly. So we need to clear up that
Mhm.
communication.
And another thing I was thinking about before I came in, when new residents move in,
Mhm.
there's usually something posted in the elevator. So-and-so is moving in
Mhm.
today. Where?
Yes, it would be nice to have it.
It would be nice to
To
know
know
they're
what
moving
floor
into
or where
the
they are.
third floor on Contemporary or
Yep.
whatever.
Yeah,
So you'd know to keep an eye out for them.
That's such a good idea.
So I saw Nancy Buddy in the mailroom was posted. She moved in yesterday.
Mhm.
You could probably remind me of before. I'm completely
She's
Second.
2301.
second 2301. I knew she was in the Contemporary. So yeah, I think we can do
Mhm.
that piece better as well. What else?
Just generally, or what?
I mean, yeah, I'll take general feedback, but more so on activities that work for you, communication.
Well, this week there were at least 2 musicals. Are we overdoing too many
Mm.
or not?
Yeah,
Can't have too many music.
no,
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 okay,
no,
okay.
no.
Okay,
Because there's such a variety, some would appeal
Okay.
to some and some
Okay.
appeal to somebody else.
Okay.
Some of the classical ones people don't come to, some of
right.
the trumpet, piano kind of
Yeah.
things. Certain
Sure.
people go to that, you know,
Yeah.
so I think you need to have a variety
Okay.
of things.
It just seemed like a lot this week,
yeah.
but maybe that's because of Veterans Day.
Yeah,
I
and-
think so, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we did a Veterans Day brunch, that wasn't. I mean,
Who
we
was
had
invited to that?
anyone could have been, and I think that's part of that clarity that
Yeah.
we needed.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I understand
yes,
that.
clarity.
We didn't even know where it
Yeah.
was.
Been in the war?
Right, and so I think I mean of course it was open to
I
yeah,
didn't,
and so it was primarily veterans or wives that had veterans, and it was really a time for the veterans to be celebrated and recognized, and it would have been but again
it wasn't clear.
Wasn't clear.
At all.
no, and so and then we had Tom Sellers come in for kind of that Veterans Day celebration as well yesterday. So, but this again, the blinders obviously were on Laura and I because again we put this on the calendar like okay that's there, everybody will come, and then it's like the questions start coming, right? And so this is where the clarity. I mean, this is why I love these feedback sessions because again I can see the scores and say, well, we did great or we didn't do well. What the heck,
Try to think like us instead of like you.
Oh man! All right,
I
I
found
know.
that so often, though. You know what you're trying to communicate, but
Every time,
nobody
right?
else does.
Yeah. So yeah, I know. And yeah, you don't want to be inside my brain, so I'll definitely try to be
Oh, well.
inside.
Yeah, hand it to somebody who doesn't know what's going on and say, what do you think
Yeah.
this means? Yeah.
No, and again, there's simple things. I mean, again, the easiest thing to do is to hand it to an employee and say, "What does this mean?"
Yeah.
And they say,
What do you think?
"I don't know." Well, then we didn't do our job, clearly, and so maybe that's something we incorporate and make Lila the checker, because Lila or Famata and say, "All right, Lila, here's the calendar. Any questions?" And she says,
No, they're not
Huh?
good. They know everything.
"I know, but
They know too much,
But
maybe.
well, maybe you're right. Maybe they know too much. So you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Maybe
No.
maybe we just need to pick a resident in the hallway and say, hey, these are the activities. And then you say,
Huh?
well, should I come to that or not? Oh, all right, let's go back to the drawing board. All right.
Yeah,
On the
that's
brunch, I
not
asked
clear
Mary about it,
sometimes.
and she said she didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So she wasn't preparing food, I guess, or
Oh no, we had a prepared
was that what
eggs,
you did?
sausage, and just small. It wasn't anything major, but it was nice. Sausage, eggs, some pastries,
Oh, yes.
fruit.
Yeah,
So-
it would have
You
been
were gone.
nice.
Yeah, we would have gone. and
I didn't
had-
think it was.
Yeah,
No, what I
Come
didn't
on,
know
come
anything
on.
about it.
Yeah.
really.
and it honestly. I mean, I ran the event because Laura wasn't able to be here yesterday. But honestly, I just YouTubed kind of a quick 7-minute video of the history of Veterans Day, and then I did a 2-minute tribute video that was really nice, and then I just let Mickey Pollard, Dr. Shelkin, Roy Arndt, they just talked, and it was so interesting, and the Woodards were there, and they shared what their parents did, and it's just really
That's
really
too bad.
neat to
Yeah,
see
too
that.
bad
So.
we missed it.
So yeah, we'll definitely need to do that, and I know the next one is Memorial Day that we so we'll do that again. So, all right. Anything else?
My daughter helped me make an appointment for the booster. It
Mm.
wasn't that easy, and I'm just wondering about people here that really need the booster, but they need help, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I already asked you that.
yeah, and so again, we said ask Teresa, ask myself if you need help getting those
Oh.
appointments scheduled.
Oh,
We did mention that in the State of the Castle, but again, and then I think it was in last week's memo as well, to see myself or Teresa if you need assistance in getting the booster. We are in contact. We contacted the pharmacy on Monday. They said they would be able to do it. We contacted them again on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. They have not called us back to set up a clinic here. And so again, we're working a couple different avenues in that front, but we cannot get a commitment.
do you know why? Is it the
Staff.
Staff.
So because Teresa asked CVS, they said we have a community. Why can we please get a clinic? And they said we don't have the staff to be able to do
Oh,
that.
okay.
I saw a friend of mine at the Symphony that lives at St. John's, and they're having the same problem, and they don't know what's going on either.
Yeah,
But
So
how
it's-
do they get there then? I had a relative take me, but,
we can schedule it through transportation. I would consider it like a medical appointment.
okay.
And so if our transportation can't make it happen, we'll lift you there and consume, not make you pay for that. So again, I know another thing that we were trying to do is coordinate appointments and try and get a block of appointments.
Mm-hmm.
That's been
That's
difficult
hard.
because again, everybody has access to the same portal. We don't get a special portal because we have a number of eligible recipients. And so that hasn't worked out to try and get, a bus, for instance, to
Right.
take you. So yeah, if you need help, if you need assistance, please spread the word. Myself, Teresa, are able to definitely help you, and then help coordinate transportation too.
Shirley and I went yesterday. We had to go to the CVS on Hampton and Port Road.
Okay.
Yeah. And when you look on the computer, they had half-hour appointments,
Mm-hmm.
And so we scheduled 2 of them, and then we called up and said, if we're coming together, can we have them at the same time? Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
He was real easygoing, and he said that he feels bad that he had been here, the fella I had.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, is that where you got yours?
yeah, and I went in at 2:30 for a 3:00 appointment and no one was there.
Yeah, we had a 2:30 and a 3, but we got there he did it about 2:15, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Do they have them up at CVS?
Yeah.
Not here. Oh, wait a minute,
Now I heard that CVS Downer does have it.
Oh,
Pfizer,
I thought they also had Moderna now.
I don't
So
know.
I need to get clarification on that, because I know that they initially just had Pfizer, and then the CVS on Farwell had the Moderna.
Mhm.
But now I've heard a couple residents say that they've gone to Downer and they've received the vaccine.
Oh,
But I haven't been, and I said, "Is it Moderna?" And they said yes. So
okay.
I'm still I need to make a phone call to make sure that that's the case.
I
So-
could not get it at my doctor over here above Whole Foods
Oh, really?
yesterday.
No, they don't, the doctors don't have it.
And I'm wondering that's because the vial, once you open it,
Storing it, yeah.
it's the storage of it, and there's, I think you have 4 hours once you open the vial. So,
I did get a flu shot over there
Yeah.
at the doctor's, so.
Tyler, is there any, are there any plans to wash the windows, you know, on the walks when you, that overlook the patio, all those windows along the walkway and,
across from Lindsay Hall,
yeah, and up above Lindsay Hall and all the way,
So-
you know, when you're walking from one elevator to the other,
Yeah.
that there's windows all looking over the
Mhm.
garden, and those are, and then our windows, we've been here a year and 3/4 now, and we've never had the windows washed on our kitchen. There are 4 of them in the turret that don't open out. They're just plain windows, and they have never been washed in the year and 3/4.
really.
And they're really dirty,
Because
so.
yeah, we wash windows once a year, and those 4 windows should have been included.
But they don't, there's no way, they do it all from the inside when they come, and they can't
It's
do
not our
those.
it's not our cleaners that do that. We have
I
outside.
know it, but those cleaners that came, the outside help, did our inside windows, and then they reached around to get the outside of it,
Okay.
but they can't do that on the kitchen, cause they don't open, there's just.
Well, let me. Scotty's Window Service is who we use, and so let me talk with them because they should have been able to do them, regardless if they could open them or not.
Couple years ago, they had some sprayer from the outside
Yeah,
that went up and did it, I know.
yeah.
Oh,
So and again,
Okay.
so that
But I don't
should have
think they
happened.
did that the last time.
Yeah, so I will. We have a good relationship with them. We do bring them in to do the first floor common area windows quarterly. We do not go up to the second, third, and fourth floor.
yeah, those windows looking, as you're walking along the hallway there and looking down at the garden, they're really dirty.
Yeah, so we generally do those once a year.
Okay.
And so again, but they should have been done, but we'll verify, and then I'll circle back with you specifically, Mrs. Crump, on those 4 windows. Okay.
And then one other thing is, did you check with the desk about the lifts pickups at the end? You know, I got stranded 2 times now, you know, and wasn't able to get home because we've stepped away from the desk. And then I keep calling, and I keep getting that same answer, and pretty soon, if I didn't have friends that I happened to meet, I would still be down the stairs, down at the
Essentially.
Marcus Center.
Could have caught another show.
Yeah.
No, so Teresa and I had that conversation. The receptionist, again, if they're on the other line, they know that they need to wrap up the phone call and either say one moment and pick up the call and say, I received your call, I'm on the other line, I will call you right back.
That's what they should do.
And so we've had that conversation, as well as please do leave a voicemail. If you do get to the voicemail, leave one, and then they will call you back. And that's something new, and again, that's a work in progress. But again, these are the steps they are to take, so that your instance doesn't occur.
Okay.
Okay. All right. What else?
Changes in the dining room.
Changes in the dining room. So I'm also going to tie this into the food and beverage score since you're talking about the dining room. So the food and beverage team greets me in a warm and friendly manner, 99. That was the score they received. So very, very strong score. The executive chef Tim responds to my questions and concerns, an 88. Overall satisfaction with food and beverage is an 82. The meals taste delicious is a 63.
That's too bad.
That was the score.
Is that before Tim?
This would have been about 4 weeks with Tim.
Oh,
So that was 10 points higher than last year. which is a pretty significant score.
Ooh,
It is,
I mean, we scored a 53 the last time we did this.
huh.
That was 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago.
Hmm.
And so I've been able to sit in on the food and beverage committee now for the last 2 months or so. The feedback's been very good.
I think
Veg-
they're wonderful.
the vegetables are so much better and
Yeah.
the pork is tender.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
think the
just
meals are
that
really,
I was-
really good.
I was gonna bring up, there's such a waste of food. I was wondering if maybe the helpings could be smaller.
Okay.
And older people, do you feel that you have too much to eat or?
Well, I have been with people who ordered a half a portion of something,
Okay,
and you don't get half a portion, you
No,
get
you
the full
don't.
portion.
yeah,
Yeah.
And I think if people request, 3 carrots, they should get 3 carrots or whatever,
Yeah.
not a whole serving of it.
Yeah, and I think it's tough to go that specific. Half portions we should be able to manage.
Mhm.
But I will tell you, in the thick of 10 tickets, the half portions sometimes do get missed.
okay.
As far as the smaller portions, that's something that's been brought up by the resident food and beverage committee. And then as soon as that happens, all of a sudden somebody's like, "Where's my food?"
Oh,
You know, and they're like, "Where's my big portion?" So it's an ongoing
Call you later.
battle, but we definitely, and that's actually something that Tim is looking at right now.
Okay,
Again, because of the waste, but also the request of smaller portions.
like the prime rib takes up your whole plate.
And so we're actually, Tim's completely looking at a different
Okay.
source than prime rib.
Good.
Just because the prime rib meat has been absolutely awful
Mhm.
that we've been getting from the
Yes.
purveyors.
Yeah.
So he's got a different plan that I think will definitely meet and exceed the expectations of you. So it also minimizes waste. It also minimizes the fat, so to speak, and kind of the food waste. So yes, that is something that we're moving forward with.
Someone asked me or told me, if I get a half a portion, I should only pay for half a portion.
We're not going to go down that road.
No,
I know.
no.
You know, because I don't know if you at a restaurant, if you ask for a half portion, if they're charging you half.
No,
They
they're
do
not.
not.
I think we can do a cup and a bowl. I think we can
It was
delineate that.
interesting.
Maybe it's 3 points and I think 4 points or something like that. But no, we are not going down the half portion, half
No.
price.
No.
Okay, well I'm glad everybody agrees on that.
Oh, yeah, I agree too.
So yeah, but the food and beverage, I mean, again, I think Tim's done an incredible job, again, in his relatively short time here. Majarka just started with us. She's on her end of her second week now, so she's day 10. And she's the director of hospitality. You know, I know UC, and unfortunately we're still struggling with hiring, and getting the right people and the right staff. Again, go to any restaurant, I would go to, you know, unfortunately I know senior living communities that don't have their dining rooms open, period, right now, because they can't find staff. So we're fortunate in that regard. I appreciate everybody's flexibility and understanding when, you know, we are down a server or you make reservations and they get adjusted slightly. But again, that's unfortunate to the market that we're currently in, you know. And so again, I was looking, we have partners coming in on Monday for the renovations. We were looking for a Monday night restaurant. The first 5 restaurants I looked at, they were closed. And last 6 months ago, or pre-COVID, they were open 7 days a week. Now I looked, I mean, Harbor House isn't even open until Wednesdays. You know, they're closed on Mondays and Tuesdays.
And they don't do lunches anymore.
And they don't do lunches anymore. I mean, so again, that's unfortunately and again, this is no new story to any of you. But again, we are actively recruiting, hiring, bringing on board individuals. But at the same time, we do have to maintain some type of standard in expecting them to come to work. That is an expectation of the job. That everybody knows it when they sign up. Everybody knows that that's the expectation. but yet here we are, and again, I'm talking like 8 call-ins in less than 3 months.
Ooh.
I unfortunately, I get life happens. Do everything, and again, it's not that they call in because they're sick on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then they're good on Thursday. That's one absence. This is 8 different times sporadically. It's tough to maintain a culture of consistency when you constantly have a teammate calling out. So, what else from a anything else from a food and beverage standpoint? So again, I was just interested to hear those scores. The appropriate temperature, the variety of selections. I know Chef Tim is working through along with Majarka on some menu changes that you'll be seeing here relatively shortly. More of the stews and casseroles and things of that nature. As we see the snow fly out there.
They're garnished beautifully.
Yes, it's something that it's definitely a flair. Flair's not even the right term, but the presentation,
Yes.
right? You eat with your eyes, so to speak,
Right.
first, and so again, that's something that we focus on. So.
I'm sorry, but I was just looking at the truck, even the truck says they're hiring,
Yes.
the one behind you.
So, if you're in a business that's not hiring right now, I'm very interested.
So I have something in admissions marketing. I know we're anxious to get full, and we have 2 lovely new couples that are younger, and they're going to add so much to it. But then now a couple that you wonder. I had to go through strict exam before I got in here, and it just seems a little more lenient that the people that are coming in now need a lot more help.
So yeah, I mean, our standards haven't changed at all. If not, they've gotten stricter.
Well,
And so again, the doctors have to sign off that they're independent and that they can't have help initially brought in. Unfortunately, as I'm sure you all know, that declines can happen quickly and rapidly due to an event or due to something. And that wasn't necessarily the individual that was brought into the community. I know personally, I've had a number of experiences where residents buy in to the entrance fee. They're granted that healthcare admission, and in one case, the wife had a severe stroke the day of the move.
Oh dear.
But yet they were still granted that healthcare benefit, because they were appropriate. And so again, I think that's just all something we take into account. But I can assure you, Ms. Newell, that we do have standards. We're actually adding a piece into the expansion and renovation residence and moving forward, and that's called a mental health assessment, something nobody went through here.
You're right.
And so what that is,
we wouldn't have been here.
well, no, essentially it's a mini mental exam.
We all sneaked in.
So
Don't give
and
it to us again.
yeah, no, once you're in, you're set. So again, that's something that again we know is very important to the viability of the community and your neighbors. I think we, in looking at the welcome we had for the new residents, they were all really, really fantastic. So yeah, but obviously if you have concerns, know that that's something that is a reason why residents move in here, but also that, we do have our eye, and by all means you can touch base with Teresa if you have a concern with any of the residents or your neighbors. But generally we have an idea. So yeah. What else? Anything else? So I know Dr. Lang's presentation is at 2:00. It's 1:40 right now. So
We're reading the schedule at 2 also.
is it in this room?
Right through this.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Well, this is an okay setup for that, isn't it?
sure.
Does this work? But yeah. Anything else you want to know from the survey? So security wise, we are adding a person overnight So we'll have 2 people overnight each night, one at the desk and then one kind of rounding and working through the various things.
Dining room open?
So the dining room we're looking to open after Thanksgiving. And to be honest, it's really, if you haven't seen, the Delta variant has really kind of spiked a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And so again, obviously the boosters are something that I would feel much more confident in if we were able to get all of our residents taken care of. I'm comfortable and confident from the staff perspective, but you know, that's where I want to make sure that obviously food is something you can't eat with a mask on. And as you know, we still require visitors to wear their masks as well as employees, but also then, you know, you're within 6 feet. It's kind of that old, you know, rule. You're not wearing masks. So that's where I just really want to see this Delta variant start coming back down. So that's tentatively why. Now lunch, Majorca and I had that conversation. We think that's very much gonna be open as of the Monday after Thanksgiving or Tuesday.
The bistro?
At least the front, the main dining room.
Okay.
So yeah, and again, we may go back to, just because we've seen an increase in residents coming down to the dining room, which is awesome. We may go back to a delivery fee and then offer a takeout,
I think so.
just because it does pull staff away from the dining room when they are doing deliveries.
Yeah.
We'll still offer that, but there will be a probably bring back that charge, unless obviously you're sick or something of that nature. But then the meals will be kind of back to that 4:30 to 5 will be prepared, and then you can pick it up out of the bistro.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, and I think that's a pretty easy change to make, and I think something that we can all get our arms wrapped around. But again, there will be, I know that this is the first month with the new point system, the 600 and 400. And so you will have the opportunity in December. We'll put on the calendar some open kind of food and beverage specific sessions related to the points program, as well as something that the resident council currently has in their hands, and that's kind of a food and beverage overview. You know, there's questions about what is a meal, what can I get for a sundry? How can I be assured that, you know, the points and I'm still going to be able to get a meal? You know, and Tyler's not going to raise the prices on the meals that I can only get 2 meals a week. You know, so again, the resident council will be reviewing that next week, and Majorca and I will be able to share that with you at the beginning of December. Also, I'm trying to alleviate the billing staff with some of those questions, because again, there may be some confusion just based on how the months and everybody's broken up.
So if mine starts, my fiscal month starts on the 14th, is that when it will be reflected that I've gone down to 400?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Well, I've been reading about how prices of food have gone up.
Oh,
Is that going to
terrible.
affect anything?
Terrible.
Prices of food and inflation is a real thing, and it's something we are monitoring very, very closely. But we may have to pull back on some of the higher priced offerings purely based on raw food costs.
I noticed they didn't have shrimp on Sunday. I wondered if that
Yeah.
was.
And so again, we still want to make sure we're offering that, maybe just not as a regular offered piece, because that way we can still offer it as a special and things of that nature. It's not at the same time we're not just gonna put hamburgers and that's all you get. You know, we want to make sure that we have offerings, but that is something that Majorca and Tim are really looking at. The other thing is the supply chain. That's really
Yes,
another driver.
yes.
When we have half the truck that we order doesn't show up, you know, it's tough. We've gone to other purveyors and they say we don't have the staff to bring you on board. You know, so they've turned down our business. And so again, we're fortunate to be healthcare. We're fortunate to be we have a national account with Cisco, so we do get some preference. Majorca's like, Tyler, did you have to go to, you know, in the pandemic, what Cisco was doing was, because of the lack of delivery drivers, they actually made restaurants go to Cisco to get the food
Oh, gosh.
and bring it back.
Oh, my gosh.
We're fortunate we never had to do that
Okay.
because of healthcare,
Mhm.
obviously. But that's what restaurants were having to do. That's what Majorca was having to do at the Oztop, was
Oh,
literally
goodness.
go and pick up their order. in some cases. So that's why you see the last minute substitutions as well on the menu. And maybe something is planned, and again, we do the scramble drill because we expect it on the truck and we expect to go, and all of a sudden it's not there.
In terms of communication, maybe you should say that in the, like, State of the Castle or something, that if you see a substitution on there, we didn't have any choice, we had to do it.
Yeah,
Explain it to people
Sure.
instead of letting them get upset about it.
sure.
Good idea.
Sure. So yes. Again, we're monitoring all of that. Inflation went up 6% yesterday.
Oh,
We-
It's terrible.
Again, we as a country, I'm afraid we can't sustain this. So again, I think everybody, the very, very smart people, hopefully are planning that this hyperinflation, as they're calling it, does level out. But we need to monitor it. Because again, we can raise wages all we want. The impact is
Well, like they gave a raise to Social Security, but it's the same amount as inflation, so
right.
you didn't gain anything. You're back where you were.
Yeah. So all things that we're monitoring very closely. All things that we're really trying to keep off of you as residents' purview, because again, you live here, and so that's. But again, you have your own personal finances and things of that nature, and that's not anything we need to go into today. But again, that is definitely something we're monitoring, both the inflationary price, raw food costs, as well as just the supply chain issues. So
I just have to say our wait staff is beautiful.
yeah, we're very fortunate right now with a number of our wait staff team members. So yeah, and again, Chef Tim, Kathleen, the back of the house, dishwashers, Mary,
She works so hard.
our stewarding team that takes care of our healthcare areas, yeah, so
Good
doing a really
job,
nice
Tyler.
job. Well,
Yeah.
again, it's, the
That's
old
why
adage is you hire right and, job gets a little
That's why you
easier,
get the big bucks.
but,
Nancy Buddy moved in and she has a big cat named Tyler.
she does, she
Oh,
does, a big tabby cat named Tyler, so I've
that's fun.
yet to meet him, but, I mean, again, I can't wait, so,
Anyway, well, thank you.
of course.
I will introduce Dr. Lang if you want me to. I got his bio from morning.
Yeah,
Were you gonna go over or?
I'm happy to participate, if you would like me to, but
I
by
can
all
do that.
means, Carolyn, I'll be there to support you, make sure you're all set up, but,
You
I think
did
it'd be,
wanna do a video, I think.
Scott and Cooper are working with him on
Okay.
that, so I will walk that way, so.
Okay.
Any other questions? Otherwise, thank you so much for coming down, taking a deeper dive into the resident satisfaction survey.
Thank you.
For those watching, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Oh, shoot.